Hi, so this is a message, Rihanna. I don't want to say it too loud because, after all, I'm not really sure that I'm a Persian princess. But if you look at the nose, if you look at the nose, it's not the Arab nose. It's the bulbous particular nose. My dad had the same nose, so I wonder. He used to tell me the Iranians. We used to say Iranians in the 1980s. The Iranians are a different race. They're white. Well, whether they're white or not, whether they tan well or don't make no never mind to me. My mom could get a great suntan, and I couldn't, and my dad couldn't. He would burn to a crisp, but he did have the Iranian nose, and I do remember when they took the hostages in the 1980s when I was a little girl. I remember the Shah of Iran, the original one, who went to the Cleveland Clinic. He had my dad's nose. It's like that nose. Why don't we look at noses? Some people want to make noses so small as to be non-existent. I prefer not the bulbous nose. I prefer not the overly pointy or long nose. However, whatever you prefer is not necessarily what you get. I mean, raise your hand. Are you glad you just didn't get your parents' noses? If I got my mom's nose, that would have been wonderful. But, you get, sometimes it's like, your brother got the good nose, but things didn't work out so well for him. So the nose isn't everything. I'm telling you, Trump is really serious, folks. You ever watch, My 600-Pound Life, Dr. Now? He seems to be very expert. However, telling people not to eat fruit. No, fruit is healthy. I think it would take a real miracle to lose that much weight. To really just, if you have put on like elephant amount of weight, what human doctor can help you to lose all that weight? Only God can do that for you. However, don't disrespect Dr. Now. Don't lie to him. Don't go cheating out at fast food establishments. I had a plum. I had an apple. Listen, he wouldn't care as long as you were losing weight. The problem is you're eating Twizzlers. And by the way, Twizzlers contain arsenic. Did you find out the Florida Department of Health, or whatever it is called, they did a study on all these candies. My dad loved Tootsie Rolls. I love Tootsie Rolls. I love red Twizzlers. Turns out they're full of arsenic. What about the Milky Way? No, the Milky Way is okay, but the Snickers is bad. The Snickers has too much arsenic. Whoa. And if you watch TCT, Dr. Don Colbert was on there. That sounds like a French name, And I know Joyce Meyer featured him years ago. He's a little bit older now, but he's saying too much caffeine can make your brain atrophy and give you high blood pressure. There was a time when I felt that I didn't have enough energy, and I kept trying to drink more and more coffee, and the more tired I felt, or should I say tireder and tireder? That's correct. You have to have a balance. Sorry, I'm a little bit busy now. You have to have a balance. I mean, for example, and I bring this up, people say, well, too much pot can't hurt your brain. I don't know that any amount of pot is safe for your brain. As for strong liquor, I've never set foot in a liquor store. Do you want to just commit suicide or something? Like, go ahead and drink the antifreeze and kill yourself with the strong liquor. Stay away from that stuff. Stay away from it. Stay away from it. Stay away from it. Stay away from it. Anything they're offering you, hey kid, this will make you feel better. But how are folks? Can we put all the puzzle pieces together to make a complete picture? We were told in the 1980s, don't do drugs. There's nothing wrong with saying that. I knew a lot of kids in high school that drank until they got drunk, and I never... One time I drank when I was in high school. I think it was my senior year. I was all by myself. My parents had some vodka on the top shelf, and I just decided I'm all alone. I may as well just try it. So I took like a few shots of vodka, and then the room started spinning, and I'm like, why do people like this so much? What's the big deal? So I didn't get it, you know? But there were people getting drunk in high school. Drunk. Underage drinkers, just drunk. And you know what goes along with that? But I didn't have any friends that I could invite over. I was like one of the complete nerds. Folks, don't just turn yourself over to some sort of substance. I still remember Blondie, The Tide is High, when I was a little girl. The tide is high, but I'm moving on. I love this song when I was a little girl. I had no idea. If you see the video, the actual music video, she looks like she's high on narcotics. But narcotics, I mean, you really have to have like a Janis Joplin incident where it's like you were off your opiate-based drugs for a while, and then all of a sudden you thought, oh, for old time's sake, I'm just going to shoot up some more heroin, and then she died, you know? Because her nervous system was so suppressed with alcohol, plus the opiates, or should we say opioids? I'm not sure. Does it matter? It's all narcotic. And cannabis is not a narcotic. I've heard people make mistakes. A drug is a drug is a drug is a drug. I don't know. You know what? I mean, they're putting arsenic in our food supply. This is making me so upset. I loved Kit Kats. I loved Tootsie Rolls. I loved Red Twizzlers. Now it's all making sense. What would arsenic do? It could slowly kill you, but if it doesn't do that, is it disrupting your hormones? These people need to be held accountable, and I am so glad they have tested the candy recently. But this really wasn't about the affluenza that we suffer. When you're a little kid and you go out trick-or-treating, and then you learn later on in adulthood, well, that's actually participating in a satanic ritual. And then you try to tell your kids, actually, no, Halloween's really satanic, don't do it. They're like, oh, whatever. Because your older kids, they don't care. The adult kids, oh, she's just, you don't listen to her. Well, I would say you're not responsible for what you don't know, but I would say don't participate with it. And my ancestors were, some of them were Irish, so they're the ones who made the jack-o'-lanterns, and they were the Celts, and they were pagan, and they thought that you could have communion with the dead, or, you know, you could communicate with the dead, or, you know, whatever those crazy old witches believed back there in the old country. Who knows? They used to carve potatoes and turnips. In America, we started to carve pumpkins. How do you get that out of your culture? Like Halloween is just like, oh, it's Halloween. That's like Christmas. It's like, oh. You know, I used to live next door to a lady who said Halloween was her favorite holiday when I was just a young Christian, maybe like in my late 20s. And I was just trying to make extra money, and I was trying to like sell stuff to neighbors, and, you know, not like crack or anything like that. Just trying to sell them, you know, like I had like little special things decorated with Halloween stickers. And she says, Halloween's my favorite holiday. It's like, but the thing is, well, don't make Halloween your favorite holiday because things didn't turn out so well for that family. No, I'm not a gossipy person. Don't make Halloween your favorite holiday, please. And could we go a little bit further? Could we say that, well, there are people, think about, are you listening right now? Can we not just scream and shout and be angry at me? Because it's okay for you just to listen, because I'm not going to say anything that's going to be condemnatory. It's only provoking you to thought, to search in your soul and your spirit. Because you have a spirit and you have a soul. Let's make sure the right things, you're putting the right things in there. We see people coming from other countries that just do all kinds of weird kind of stuff. You don't want to name names. Oh. I keep thinking about my own ancestors, how they were into some kind of weird stuff, and yet we all became a unified nation. And I think that happened during World War II. Isn't that ironic? To have grandparents that really thought Adolf Hitler was the bee's knees, but they had already left Europe. And America was fighting against Germany, who was run by Adolf Hitler at the time. So of course they would be patriotic. They sent 3 of their boys to the military. One of them became a priest, or tried to become a priest, but anyway, didn't pass muster to be in the military, but that's okay. You know how it goes. At the end of the day, as we like to say, their loyalty was not to the home country, it was to the United States of America. And my dad used to go around singing, I'm sorry, I'm busy. I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy, Yankee Doodle do or die. It's supposed to be a real life nephew of my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. But my dad would always get the lyrics right, like he'd be like, I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy, Yankee Doodle do or die. A real life cowboy of my Uncle Sam. A cowboy of my Uncle Sam doesn't even make any sense. But it makes sense when you know how much my dad loved John Wayne. Loved him so much. Over this past weekend, we've seen England have its freedom rally. The abuses these people have undergone, it is mind-boggling to me. I only had a glancing acquaintance with England in the late 1980s when I had the opportunity to take a field trip overseas. I visited England and France very briefly. I stayed at it was tourist class hotels. They called it a tourist class hotel. So, it's not the Ritz-Carlton, folks. And I have to say, the capital cities of England and France were just kind of dirty. There was one village that we stayed overnight at a hotel in France. I can't remember the village. It was just beautiful and it was so nice. And everybody there was like, there's no red flags, there's nothing sleazy. Wow. Now I know why my father really admired the French. You'd rarely hear my father put the French down, ever. And he always sort of aspired to, much like Robert Maxwell, I aspired to be British, much like Hitler. the heart of class is France. I really think so. I have barely any French ancestry. I have like 3%. Well, that's the Iberian. They lump it in with Spain and France, and I think Greece. It's like, I'm 3% that. You know, you're 3% everything. What are you? I don't know. Pretty much anything that came out of Europe. But why was America special? What made America special? I don't think it was the genetics. I don't think it was the pedigrees. You know, there were Jewish people that were patriots, that gave their life for the cause of establishing the United States of America. Let's not forget that. Because our Declaration of Independence and our Constitution does not refer to Jehovah, God. It refers to a creator. And 99% of the people that signed the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, I want to leave room for the 1% that didn't believe. They believed in a higher power. And this was providential. We had freedom. It was time for freedom after all these centuries of getting the runaround. Well, you're not the right class and blah, 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 and the betrayal and the injustices. Finally, we had a chance to make a clean slate of things. But it didn't happen without And, you know, the Civil War. Why do we make so little of the Civil War? I want to tell you, the Underground Railroad, my ancestors were not here during the time of slavery. And when they did arrive, it was not in the South. So I have nothing to do with slavery. Don't pin that on me. Because there's still slavery happening. You better look to the people that are actually still enslaving people and stop trying to put that garbage on me. I was always an abolitionist, you know, because I'm from the great state of Ohio. That's a Buckeye state. We always fought against slavery. We always spoke out against it. Religious people, Christian people said slavery is wrong, it's terrible, it's anti-Christian, we cannot put up with this anymore. And I do believe that Abraham Lincoln was a Christian. Originally, he started out as an atheist lawyer. Do you know? He's from Kentucky and Illinois. Like, everybody claims, is he from Ohio, Kentucky, or Illinois? He did not start out being a Christian. He started out being a brilliant atheist, very tall lawyer. Very tall. Even today, he would be considered very tall. He, in his spirit, felt the injustice of slavery and what a horrible black market it was. Oh, I'm sorry, no pun intended. It was just a minus. All men are created equal, except what, there are people that don't exist, are 3/4 of a person? That's why, you know, I really don't like to see the stars and bars. I remember from the 1970s at Dukes and Hazzards, like, you know, slavery and racism are not okay. War is not okay. However, is war sometimes necessary when you will not let the people go? So maybe Trump is the modern day Moses. The Iranian people need to be free. Let those people go. And let's do it peacefully.